From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be millionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I'm going to be your host for this episode, and my name is Bill this week. Who do we have hosting?
I'm Vicky.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Ben.
He is.
Ben's
on hosting.
That's right.
Something weird is happening here. Is it dominating with Dawson time?
Not yet, is it?
Not yet.
Think it is.
No, not yet. Not yet. So Ben's on. Ben has a friend. Who knew? Anyway, she's a racing driver. She's an instructor. In spite of initially learning from Ben, so we'll see how good of an instructor Ben is later. That's part of the fun of this episode. And in Ben's wonderful terminology, she is a qualified and certified badass. And team member of Winsome Racing, we have with us Danielle Tripp. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you.
So exactly what badass qualifications and certifications do you carry? And is this international or just U.S.?
I would say it's far more local than either of those.
Wow.
To my house.
Smaller?
To my own house.
Own house? All right. Well, I may need to talk to you about that because mine definitely does not extend past my body, especially in my own house. Right, Vic?
Right.
Exactly. So some say that would not be a professional introduction. I would say it's our normal introduction. So could you kind of give a brief introduction for those of us who do not have familiarity with your past life? Could be family, could be professional, could be racing, could be whatever.
Sure. Well, I live here in North Carolina. I'm originally from Michigan, but I've been down here about 16 years now. I live here with my husband and my son, and I'm a nurse, so I've been having a busy life the last several months, and unfortunately no time at the track, so this is a little bit of an extension of track life, just to be able to talk about it and watch videos and such.
Hey.
Hey, there's a video on in my background. I don't know if you see it. Did you see this
That's
piece?
what I'm watching. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Jen.
And that's about it for me. I started driving probably about 6 years ago. I didn't even know it was a thing. And it was just something that my husband mentioned. And I was like, of course I want to try that. And I went out and tried it, and immediately I was hooked. And since then it's morphed into other things, obviously, hence making it here.
That's awesome. So the one thing that we always get, and half the reason we started this podcast was, everybody finds out that, we drive race cars, and, they're like, I didn't know you could do that. How can you possibly do that? That's impossible. What got you from the sofa to the thinking about the track?
I think it started with cars, to be honest. It started with fast cars, and my husband making comments that maybe I should take my speed someplace other than the street that wouldn't result in multiple tickets and high insurance, because that became sort of a theme. So then for my birthday, he purchased me an event, and we went, and we never stopped going. So moving from that, I think it just started with Ben, quite frankly. I had watched another driver. We watched someone, and he was so fast, a mutual friend of ours named Reggie, and we're like, how are you that fast? And he's like, well, let me tell you. I met this guy named Ben, and I was immediately just on the phone texting the people that do the track events. I'm like, whoever Ben Dawson is, can I get him? Oh, well, a lot of people want him. I'm like, okay, well, maybe the next time. And then after I had gone several times, I think maybe people got to know me, and we had good times together, and they were like, you know what, we'll make sure you get him eventually. And then that was how that happened. And ever since.
That's crazy. I didn't know any of that.
Who knew Ben was a delicacy?
So can Can you say where did you go for your first event? Where was it, and who was it with?
Oh yeah, it was at NC Car, and it was Apex Track Events. I can't remember if that was their handle at the time, or if they changed the name of their venue since then. But it might have been Track Club USA even.
Oh, right. I got you. So you've run a lot of the your track events have been with those two groups, which are kind of the same people, but just with a different name and different tracks, right? Like it's been a majority of your track events.
Right. Which is
This is a great group to run with. It's a little endorsement from both of us. Track Club USA and Apex Track Events are great if you're in the North Carolina, South Carolina area.
Yeah, and they're both, they run events at close tracks, and it happens enough that it keeps you going. But that was where I started.
Cool.
So you got drunk on driving power.
Yeah. It was scary. It was definitely scary, but I wasn't afraid to keep doing it. In my first event, it was raining, and because I had no idea what I was into, I was like, okay, so it's raining, and all these other people are like, well, we might not be going because it's raining, and I'm like, I paid for it, of course I'm going.
Hell yeah!
So, and after that, there was no fear of the rain. You know,
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's fantastic. I'm glad you got your baptism in the rain right off the bat.
Yeah.
So was it scary or really nervous adrenaline?
I think it was really nervous adrenaline. I had a very calm first instructor. I always remember him. I still call him Banana Sandwich Mike. He went on to tell me this whole story about, and I think part of it was to sort of de-escalate the situation. He told me about his wife making him banana sandwiches like every day, and I don't even know what we talked about. I just know he was a really cool dude. You know, he could be like my dad or my grandpa's age, and he was awesome, and he just knew all these things. He'd be like, now you're gonna want to slide in here a little, just nudge it, and then she'd make me the banana sandwiches, and I was like, I don't know what we're talking about, but it's working because I'm just going 150 miles an hour. You know?
Is this Mike Barnes?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember his last name. That's why I always call him Banana Sandwich Mike.
That's great. That's fine.
Yeah, he's a
Now
cool
we got to go hunting down for a banana sandwich Mike.
Yeah, we'll get him on the podcast too.
I'm
Yeah.
looking on
Banana
the.
Sandwich Mike, if you're out there, message us.
It
Drop
doesn't
us a
come up
line,
on.
please.
Doesn't come up on Instagram as banana sandwich.
It's definitely not. It's not banana hammock. It's not banana
No,
hammock, right?
No.
I looked at that. Those were pictures I didn't want to see.
Gotcha.
Check banana bike seat.
Oh, no, that could be just as bad as hammock.
Yeah, he was a cool dude though.
So what are you racing when you're going out to the track?
Currently I have a 2013 Mustang GT, and then we just purchased, I don't know how long we've had Peaches. We call that car Peaches. Or E46 is Peaches. Long story there, but yeah, we have that BMW. So we took that one to the track, the last event we went to, and in its pure nature, it died after the first. It was awesome till it died, but it didn't last too long. We knew that was going to happen though, anyways.
I'm pretty sure Danielle and I are racing each other for the slowest Spec E46 build.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. I'm about to have a baby, and I got to spend about $1 million to fix some junk in my house. So we'll see. It's getting neck and neck for the slowest.
Yeah. We bought Peaches from a young fella who clearly was in over his head, because we all know how much those carts can cost. And so my husband and I bought it, and it smelled like peaches and whiskey cigars. And I was like, this car.
Peach schnapps, Jen. Smells like peach schnapps.
You're showing your age, Vicky.
Boone's Farm.
Those are bad.
Peach schnapps and Boone's Farm.
It's fun. That's about what it was. So it's been affectionately named Peaches ever since.
Gutted? Have y'all gutted it all the way up? Okay.
Not fully, but the back is gutted and the sunroof's been removed, and Jason's wrenched every single part on the car almost.
So, but I mean, does it still smell like Peaches cigars?
Oh no, that took a long time.
I have gutted a car quicker than I was going to, just because it reeked of something. I'm just like, this interior is coming out right now.
We literally took the back seat out, and all of the all of the upholstery on the inside just to move things along because it was like not getting better.
Yeah.
Ugh. We tried everything. The
Wow.
cat air filter, I think, was the last straw.
God, so gross.
I'm doing in there.
What is your racing history? Do you race with a certain circuit, or do you do just different events? Or
My racing history is very limited to just recently with Ben and Winsome Racing, thus having my first event. What was it? December?
Yeah, it was December because it was freezing cold. We were all texting about this before we knew Danielle was going to come record this, and our other teammate who just recently joined, JD, started the race, and it was sub-0 Celsius, it was like under freezing temperatures when he started. So usually that race can be pretty miserable and pretty cold.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time at the track. Every year we probably hit, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 events, and they're usually 2-day events, and that's been rolling now into our 6th season. But I just started racing with Winsome, and making myself available if something else pops up. But being such a noob, I don't know how all of it works, so I just roll with whatever pops up.
so what do you mean by events then? Like the NASA events or?
HPDs.
Yeah, HPDs.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you didn't start racing and then start doing HPDs like us.
Yeah, she did it the same way I did, like a million DEs, and then begin to dominate people who haven't done a million DEs and just started racing.
Right.
See, we wanted to make it easier for some of our competitors.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, we need everybody in the field. Just get there when you can with whatever level of experience you have. We'll deal with it. We will sort you out from top to the bottom. We'll figure it out.
We were sorted.
Whatever way you learn best, right?
Yep.
It was a.
So, what about your? Where did you get your start? Just in general, I mean, have you, like, I know we just briefly discussed it, but you've always enjoyed cars. Have cars always been in your family?
It honestly probably started at an incredibly young age because
Were you a Hot Wheels girl?
Yeah.
Awesome.
About that story. I remember buying Hot Wheels like in the 1st grade for boys. Like, you guys will like these cars, like they were my boyfriends or something. But I had a Hot Wheels or Power Wheels back in the day that it was like the Knight Rider, and we lived in the trailer park, and I always laugh because I'm like, even back in those days, we were peeling that sucker apart trying to figure out how to make it go faster, and my dad was all mad, like, I just bought you this thing and you guys took it all apart. And I'm like, well, we got to figure out how to make it the best one.
Yes.
So for years, I think I just, he took me to drag races and dirt, track races, and we went to snowmobile races, and we went to a variety of racing things because he was an adrenaline junkie. So I know that's where I got that from, but it took a long time to sort of have it burst through. I don't think I knew that any kind of track things existed for like normal human beings. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that anyone could go to the track with their Pinto or whatever they wanted, or then move it into something more. But it definitely started young.
Did you get an adrenaline? Were you an adrenaline junkie when you were younger? I mean, were you like racing bikes and then like beating up boys and
I would say beating up boys for sure. I don't know. Maybe not racing bikes, but I was raised
Hot Wheels,
in
Hot
Michigan, so maybe sleds. My dad used to tie the sleds on the back of the car, where we had the ones with like the metal racers on them even, and if you hit dirt patches, you get sparks.
Yeah.
We'd be rolling behind the car, like super safe, rolling behind the car, sparks coming up from the rocks.
That's right up there with lawn darts. I love that.
It is.
This is crazy.
Yeah, he would love it that I'm doing this. Unfortunately, he passed away before I started doing it, but I know that he would be like, my daughter goes to the track and work. I just know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he'd be there every weekend.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, it sounds like that it was just inevitable.
I think it was. And I think because my husband's a car dude, it just sort of helped make that happen. Like, he must have picked up on. He knew it was there, but he had enough connections in his mind to know that these other things existed and knows cars and knows how to outfit cars. And, you know, he also likes to push you to do the thing. Let's go do it. You want to go do it again? Let's go do it. So
That's cool. That's really
Does
cool.
he do it also?
he does now. Yeah.
Oh.
Dragging
That's
the
awesome.
guys
He was-
out to the track.
Yeah, Jason was Danielle's kind of a crew chief, pretty much. I mean, he'd be fixing her stuff, which didn't need much fixing because he brought it to the track in the right kind of shape. But then he would be over there fixing 5 other people's stuff, my stuff. I've been like, hey, could you fix this? Because I'm too stupid. He like plenty of times at the track. So Jason himself, before he started driving, was already a certified, qualified track badass even before he jumped behind the wheel. But I was pretty sure the moment he started driving himself, he was going to be on it like a hobo on a ham sandwich too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Jeff Wakeman was saying over at E1R podcast. It's just, you know, I think for him going over, people enjoy the tinker. They really get into getting in there and trying to figure out what's making it tick and what's not making it tick.
Yeah, smart people do that. I don't do that. 'Cause all I know how to do is the driving. But I love knowing people who are smart enough that can also just run around and help people fix stuff. I'd love to do that too, but too dumb.
He's too dumb.
We liked the build. That was a huge part of it in the beginning. And it quickly was not about power. It was more about safety, of course, but handling. So I got really excited about doing things. We were out in the carport before we built our shop, you know, with 11 inches of clearance. And here with my chest, I had about 10 inches, and that was an inch space in between, changing shocks and struts and tweaking Watts links. And then you would take it to the track and you would utilize that setup and you could feel the difference. And I would get so charged about it. I'm like, let's take it home and tighten it. We need to adjust it. That was a lot of fun. So buying the E46 was like a restart to the same kind of project. And of course, now the conversations are, how much money are we willing to spend on suspension? I don't know.
All of it.
So what made you choose that car? Is it like is that the only car that you've had that you've taken to the track, or?
Well, the Mustang is
have
the
others?
one that's been to the track the most.
Okay.
The E46 is a new thing, and that was honestly like a Jason being at the track, talking to people, talking to Ben, talking to the other guys on Winsome, and him sort of deciding he wanted to try that. But the Mustang was the start of it, which his uncle is a Ford guy, and my husband's uncle, and so we ended up at the Ford dealership, which I, mark my words, said I would never, ever buy a Ford, nor would I ever buy a Mustang. Like I had this thing about Mustangs for years, probably because I wanted one secretly. But instead I
I've been there.
I was like, I don't want no Mustang. Those dudes are idiots. But and then we bought one. And so
She was like the sour grape girl.
I didn't have it, so I didn't want anyone else to have it either.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Of course,
were you driving that? Were you driving that Mustang already before Jason said, "Hey, you should go do a track event"? Were you already in the Mustang at that point?
Yeah.
So I guarantee you, what that guy happened was you were riding down the road and he saw you rip the 3/4 shift when you were already going like 85. And he's like, "All right, we're going to take this to the racetrack."
She's
Because
gonna
I've ridden with you a million times and I've seen that 3/4 shift. It's very authoritative.
If you think about it, right? If you speed enough on the road, going to the track may actually be cheaper.
yeah, actually recently this just happened to me because we haven't had any track events because of COVID, and being a nurse, it just won't work, right? And now
Right.
when I take the Mustang, I don't usually get pulled over, and if I do, for some reason, I don't get tickets every time, I guess is what I'm saying. But now I also have a 328i that is my daily driver, and cops don't like me in that car. I don't know why. They're just not cool with it at all. And I got pulled over speeding to work, and it was my own fault speeding. And I'm like in full garb. And I'm like, dude, you're really going to give me a ticket right now? Yep. Ticket, lawyer. And I was like, that was a whole track event. I started counting. Yep. That was the whole thing. So took the place of it.
That's fantastic.
That's
Not
what we kind of
recommended
do with
but
our son
fantastic.
too. It's just, when he was learning how to drive, we're just like, save it for the racetrack.
Yeah.
Just don't be stupid on the road. Save it for the racetrack.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have had that opportunity at his age.
True.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what helps a lot.
That's great. Excellent parenting.
Yeah.
It seems to
Don't
have
even ask my
worked.
kid about that.
So far. So Danielle, any goals or dreams or bucket list items that you got on your to-do list that this Winsome Racing is potentially going to help with?
I think that in of itself is a bucket item, but I think getting out there to more races and getting more experience, and like Ben was talking about Lemons Racing, that stuff looks really looks entertaining and exciting. So I think if I can get to one of those at some point, that'll be great. I'm not, if I could go to all the tracks, like I have a little thing up on my computer that shows where there's all different tracks, that would be great. But just getting to them at all for me is exciting. I mean, I can go to one, and now that I've layered in some instructing, it gives it a little bit of a different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're teaching, and so you're learning more by teaching.
Right.
My work is based out of California, so if I could ever get out there to the tracks out there, Laguna Seca or something, even, the salt beds and all that stuff that people talk about, I think that would be really exciting.
Oh yeah.
It would be.
But just
Thunder
more.
Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Thunder Hill's on the list.
Yes. Go race. Your first track, everybody's first track in California should be Thunder Hill, I think.
Thunder Hill, huh?
Yeah, buddy.
Add it to the list.
25.
Build the team. I will come drive.
Really?
Absolutely.
Spec
Hey,
E46.
Once I've gotten a vaccine, I'll go anywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one more now.
Yeah, I'm in. Danielle's also in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you come race with us, just kidding. We'd love for you to come and race with us.
You know, you're on Winsome Racing, and if you come to us, we're going to lose some racing.
It's definitely a downgrade, but no, I'm only kidding. We always have a great time, regardless. We always have a blast.
That's what matters.
That we can guarantee. So we usually ask our guests what position they have on a team, and I know you don't have much team experience, but I guess do you work on cars? Do you like? Is there anything that you do other than just drive?
I mean,
All right, everybody kind of has their like thing on a team. Like, where do you think that you would fit? Would you just be? I'm just a driver right now because I know nothing. But
you're a paddock queen.
You can fix radiators.
I can cook.
Yeah, but you don't realize how important that is just having meals at the ready all the time.
Have you
That's
seen
huge
me?
at a race.
So my goal is to do some more mechanical stuff. Do you ever work with your husband when he's working on the cars, or ever want to learn anything?
Yep.
You do?
Yeah, I do. It's interesting because it's like learning. It reminded me of learning the body. And
Exactly, right?
So I'm just learning a different body, but I can usually go out there, and he knows I know most things. And if I don't know, because it's a different car, then he'll teach me. And I'm sure, I can never do what he does because I don't know what to do, but I know what stuff is, But my friends will call, especially other ladies at work particularly, they'll be like, I got a car question for you. And I'm like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
Mechanic, but to them I am, because I know anything, right? And I'm like, she's like, the key just won't turn. And I'm like, Mom, it's probably just your ignition. I'm like, you know what? Let me ask Jason. Yeah, it could be that's probably just a bad key. I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. I'm like, just get a new key. Okay, all right, but it didn't start yesterday. Okay, so we gotta go through all of it again. So the mechanics part, I'm not a mechanic, but I'm more mechanically inclined, certainly, especially since the track, just being around all the different cars. And
so I want to be more of a mechanic person, and also as a nurse, I really want somebody to teach me it like the body, because I can understand that. But if you can teach it to me like the body, I'll be golden.
You know what? That's not the first time that I've heard that. When diagnosing a car, if you look at it like the anatomy of a body,
Right, exactly.
and you're able to probably better diagnose what a problem is if you relate it to as such.
Right. Make a connection.
What part of me is the brakes, though?
I don't know. I never really loved brakes.
It's fiber.
Seems like I got to learn something outside of my body. But that's cool. I'm still dumb, so it doesn't matter.
Still dumb.
Fixing is something I'm good at on anything.
There we go.
So how has COVID been in your circuit? Have you done anything in the last couple of months?
Yeah, I work in senior living, so obviously that's a really vulnerable population. So it's been busy, but we've kept things under wraps. I work for a really good company that does the right things by people. So
She switched over into nursing mode. I meant driving.
oh,
So
Yeah.
I mean, I know that for in our particular racing circuit, on how they've managed COVID in training. Have you been doing training in COVID?
no.
No.
I think I tried once. What was that? A few months ago. And it was just, we did like a lead follow thing, and the event itself, it was just my anxiety level, I think, was a little too high, and it was just too much togetherness. Because of being a nurse, I think maybe I felt like I was putting others at risk on both sides, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not gone, and it's hard because we're so used to going every, you know, if we're not going a couple times a month, we're going at least every other month to the track to do something, and it's just on hold. So it's good to have things like this just to talk about it and enjoy it, even if you can't be there to do it.
She's having withdrawal.
Yeah.
She's having bad withdrawal.
That's why she
Yeah.
gets
I think
speeding
we all
tickets.
are.
I'm
To a
in the
certain
same. I'm in the
extent.
same boat I'm in the same situation Danielle is. We're trying to have a baby, and I'm also trying not to die of this disease. So I haven't been doing anything either. It's tough. I think the only reason I'm not going through worse withdrawal is that I've just been doing this stuff a million years, and I wasn't doing it for a million years before that. So I can take a break, but I understand how it's tough for everybody. But I mean, at least from events I see, people are kind of doing lip service to distancing, and they're like, yeah, I got some masks on, but it's not enough people there wearing masks all the time. Like I keep seeing huge groups of people, pictures of people with big groups with all not wearing their masks, and yeah, they may all came together from the same team or something like that, but that would just drive me crazy. I myself couldn't personally handle the anxiety of being at the track and worried about being safe on the track, and then having to worry about being safe off the track just by walking through people with not wearing masks. We just tried to go to the North Carolina Zoo this past weekend, and they were had all these signs about masks and stuff like that, and everybody had to be wearing one to get in. But once everybody got in, they took them off, and I was just like, I'm there with my wife who's 8 months pregnant, and I'm like, we were freaking out the whole time. It was the worst day we had in a long time. It was so stressful. We should have just bailed on it. But anyway, I totally get that, Danielle. I hear you. I'm going to go back to the track when it's safe too.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure she's very real with what's, what she's seeing and experiencing at the same time,
Right.
I just assume I have it all the time. Like at least my own approach to trying to stay safe in this thing is I walk around assuming I've got it. I walk around assuming everything I touch is going to give it to me. I just can't take any chances like that.
Yeah. On that note.
Sorry,
Yay.
guys.
Wah, wah, wah.
We'll all be
Let's
back
bring
to
it
the track.
back.
We'll be back to the track when it's safe. And I know Danielle's excited about getting back, and so am I. Here we go, buddies. We will be racing again sooner than later.
Too many nurses on this podcast, people. So let's back it down.
I didn't race for the first 24 years of my life, so we'll all be fine.
There we go.
All right. So our next question is, what is your racing? You don't really do a lot of racing. So your racing philosophy, I guess, what's your driving philosophy? Do you have one for when you go on the track? What is your philosophy when you go out there? Are you just going to do the best you can? Or are you just not going to get killed? Or what?
I would say I definitely
Aim high.
Yeah, I've stolen Ben's as an overall sort of way of looking at it, or mantra. If you're not having fun, then don't do it, or you shouldn't be doing it. And I can be really serious sometimes, and I can also put a lot of pressure on myself to do really good and perform and make everybody happy, and it gets out of control. So as I've gotten older, I've gotten better with letting that go. But when it comes to the car and the track, even with getting into the racing, I just will stop myself if I need to and say, you're supposed to be having fun, period. Have fun. You're naturally competitive anyways, so that'll kick in on its own. And otherwise, just have fun. But I used to write things on the car with dry erase marker, have fun, don't be stupid, but have fun, or don't wreck the damn car, but have a blast, to remind myself. Or, like sometimes I had a issue with the transmission at one point, and I was like, baby fourth gear, but otherwise tear it up,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea.
That is a really good idea.
Usually people write on our cars for us. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like it'll buff out.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go with this?
I don't know. I think it's really just one day at a time right now, since we were just getting started with it before things changed a little bit. But I definitely want to keep racing with Winsome, and just have fun with it. Go wherever it ends up going. I don't have any major goals for it just yet, just because it's relatively new.
Awesome.
But having fun with it, doing it more than I've been doing it. Obviously, we know why, but even when things get back to normal, to keep with it as much as I can, and to be a good partner on the team, to figure out, like you talked about, what's your position, finding what my position is. My husband and I have talked about, he fully supports it being my thing, and he can be sort of a byproduct and someone who helps. Like Ben said, he's really good with cars, and he'll get in there and help. And maybe when everyone's sort of ramped up and they just need someone to focus on something to fix it or go pick it up, he can help in that way. Which makes it more of a family thing, but it's okay to him that I'm the teammate. And so it's just figuring out where's my place in the team. We got.
Oh, that's like my husband.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they?
He does that. He supports me. He's over here. What? He supports me driving, but he helps. He helps all he can.
Right.
And
I think that's great.
He's valuable to our team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let me see. So do you have any thoughts for any new people that want to learn how to drive? I mean, what basically got you going, and was it difficult?
Your nurse friends.
Yeah. I tell them especially, because clearly it might be like a thing, right? Nurses might really like that kind of letting go and that power and the adrenaline. But I try to tell people just to try it. If they exude any interest in it whatsoever, I'm like, listen, just go try it, or go do a hyperdrive, or come, to one of our things and sit in the car. I've definitely found a couple different females that are like my husband's buddies' wives, and they're already like really good at it. They'll go do a hyperdrive. I'm like, dude, I was going like half the speed you're going already, and you just got in the car. I'm like, you should do it. You should come back and, well, I don't have a car. I'm like, just drive whatever you got. You can drive mine for all I care, But I think it's just, people getting out there and having the confidence that they can do it, because anyone can do it, and if you're somebody who's an idiot that can't do it because you're trying to be the coolest one out there, well, people will know who you are pretty quickly, and you'll probably wreck the car anyways.
Yep. GTR guys.
Yeah.
Mustang.
No, I think it's just something to get out there and do it. It's really good for females to do it. I think the more of us that do it, the more people won't be afraid to do it. I think it took me till I was 35 to do it, because something in society at large was kind of like, well, that's like a guy thing, right? But it's not a guy thing, it's an anybody thing. And the more people we can get out there to do it, the more people that will do it. So
Sure.
Absolutely.
And I'll say, I haven't experienced any of that at any time. Like, I don't think there's been any guys that have been looked down on female drivers. Like, I mean, I never felt like that. So, I mean, I don't get that impression. And I grew up feeling kind of the same way.
right.
But doing it now, like every event or race I've been to, everybody's just been so welcoming and friendly. So yeah. So it really isn't just a guy thing.
No. Mm-mm. I think
it's basically a
It's at
community
this level
thing.
anyway. I mean, maybe when you get up into, I guess more advanced racing, you might get that. But certainly, you know,
Yeah.
at this level, everybody's welcoming.
You think you're going to get it, but you don't. And that's the thing, right?
Mhm.
You might think that that's going to be the case, and it's absolutely not the case. Or if it is, it's very rare. You know what I mean? And usually you're going to beat that guy anyways once you get out there. And that's probably why he's giving you a hard time, right?
That's
Usually.
great.
Usually it's not.
So, I've never really asked you this, Danielle, but I mean, you're somebody who's got like you know everybody at the track. You got like 100,000 Facebook friends. So you're somebody who's pretty gregarious, I would say, and make a lot of friends. But as far as your track experience, you haven't had a lot of men kind of giving you a crappy time or anything like that.
No.
That's good. I never really thought to ask, but I'm glad to hear that it's not too bad.
That's probably why the whole thing stuck, because I had told Jason before, like, I felt like I went my whole life, and I have friends that I love that don't do this, of course, right? But I feel like I went my whole life till I found my friend group that was like, everybody could be my friend. Like, not very often do you meet someone that you're like, I could do without them.
Right.
Usually at the track, anywhere at the track, everybody's they're great. You really enjoy them, have a good time. You could talk to them for too long,
Absolutely.
So
It definitely seems to be.
yeah.
We do have a really good little track family within that group. We talked about this. It is a great group of people to hang out with. Pretty universally cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I was watching a video today from Grassroots Motorsports and Racers 360 with Dion, and it was on recommended ways of learning a new track. Actually, it was on somebody learning a track, but it got into the topic, and I thought that might be good to talk to, because Ben's been doing this since caveman rode around with stone wheels. Danielle's been doing this longer than we have, but hasn't raced as much as we have, and we're just a bunch of bozos getting out there and constantly going to new tracks. And I'll be going to a new track in 2 weeks for like the 6th time this year. So,
all right, that's exciting.
Maybe we should go past what do you do, but what should you do to learn a new track? And that could be before you go to the track, at the track, during the day, whatever. And it's kind of, what are you guys thinking?
Well, I want to hear what Danielle says first.
I watch a lot of videos like Dion. I've actually watched some of his. So if I know I'm going to a different track, which I've been to them, or even like at VIR, we did the Southport for our first race, and I didn't know it at all. So it was like I didn't know that part of the track, and it was a race. So I was super anxious about it. But I watched videos like a gabillion times, and from different people at different angles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can read some of the things that they say, the wording, but I'll also like email, I might email Ben, or I'll email other people who know this stuff. And I'm like, well, where's your turn-in points? Or I'll try to draw it. I'd like to draw the tracks and then use like a different color to sort of show me where I'm going to turn in. And it's not like you're really in your brain going to apply it in the moment, but you are without realizing you're doing it.
Yep.
At the track, I'll ride with people if they'll let me, and have someone ride with me as well to be like, well, no, I would slow here or do this. So it's a little bit of all that.
And then since you got nominated to go first, I get to ask you. So once you're at the track and you're on track, how do you go about approaching learning that track? Because I'm assuming your first lap is not going to be your best lap of the weekend.
Oh, I definitely try to follow somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the guy who's doing real well, if I can keep up with them and follow their line. Otherwise, it's just that, the first lap or two, they kind of let you go slow, and you got to just sort of balls out, figure it out. We went to Dominion, which was a different track for us, right? And it was like a lot of concrete, and there was just a lot of things happening. And my car is so big and so heavy, it's not necessarily the best kind of car for that track in my mind. But in the moment, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to wreck this car and I'm going to die. And I'm like, just keep following the person in front of you. Just keep following. And so that's all I could do until, I don't know if I ever got really comfortable at that track, but it was just not the best day for it anyways.
That track has this big bridge abutments right next to the track.
Yeah.
Right? like
concrete wall and a bridge.
the footings or whatever for the bridge come around right at the edge of the track. I'm like,
there was a lot of elevation change too, or just changes in the concrete that just threw the car off a little bit. And I'm like, I'm gonna pop right over there and hit one of those things.
That place is a mix of concrete and asphalt, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Like Thompson too, right? I think Thompson might be like that. I'm not sure, but that sounds like an added degree of difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, you're being very quiet.
Just listening. It's so nice to have another lady driver on. It really is.
I told you guys you were going to be really excited to hear what Danielle Tripp has to say today.
Mm-hmm. I don't bring a lot to the table, but I do talk a lot.
You bring a lot to the table. Don't be crazy.
I think my two ladies are not the best at learning a new track and doing work ahead of time. So I think that's why they're being a little quiet.
Yeah,
it's true.
It is true.
Exhausting.
We could do more. Let's put it that way. You're right.
Yeah.
I would have to say that I think that Danielle's obsession with watching video and my equal or greater obsession with watching video before I go, though, is just because I think that she and I are both pretty competitive people. Like, it's not something I walk around thinking about all day, but like when I'm at work, I got to get this stuff done. I got to get it done. I got to get done faster than I thought I could. When I'm at the racetrack, I'm the same way. Like I don't think that I'm walking around all the time thinking about that, but when I get into a situation where there's some pressure, I'm ready to go. And part of that is, for me, is like being as ready as I can. But I would say, if think about people's different motivations for getting to the track, all the way from the lemons person who really just wants to bring a car that's completely broken and make the fun part of the weekend is be trying to build it just enough to go on the track and make one lap. I don't want to do that. I would just stay home. So there's different motivations for getting to the track, and it may be that right now, Vicky and Jen, you guys' motivation is just getting to the track and having fun and enjoying the car and enjoying people. So we're all coming from a different place. I don't think that you necessarily have to be as obsessive about it as Danielle and I are.
I think that when it comes to the tracks, that Bill and I do majority of the prep work, and by that time
that leads up to that, like you're
right. And I think that by that time rolls around, I'm burning out a little bit, and I'm just like, I just really just don't want to think about cars on my off time, because I put in so much time and so much work just to get the stuff there.
You want to get there and drive it, right?
At
that point, you're like, I want to just go drive it.
I know. I just want to sit down with a TikTok, and just go through. I want to go like numb for a little while, know.
Oh, I hear you.
The level of exhaustion changes over time. I can definitely say I've learned that.
That's true.
What I can handle in the beginning is not the same as what I can handle now, because you sort of build up your stamina, and it starts from the time it's coming. We got to prep the car 2 weeks in advance, and we had a camper for a while, which we got rid of. Part of the reason was that because it was like too much. I want to go and not deal with all this crap ahead of time. And I got more and more over time. Now it's not as big of a thing, but it took a long time, and it's still a big thing. It still wears me out. By the time we get there, I'm like, oh God, now I got to go drive.
Right.
I love it, but it's right.
And it shouldn't be that. If all that was done, and all I had to do was show up and drive, I think I'd be a totally different person.
Oh yeah.
but yeah, it's a lot. I mean, Bill just actually sent out an email to me. He's like, "What do you think of this camper?" And I'm like, "Oh no." I said, "Jennifer has a camper." I said, "I don't think I could do a camper on top of all of this." And the reasoning is that the cost of it, the tires, the insurance, the us trying to keep up the repairs on that at the same time. And I'm like, you're going to kill us. I said, maybe
it's not being that, maybe it's not that much less expensive than a hotel room wherever you're going to go.
Like, maybe just take the hit for a hotel room
every time.
I said, we rent. We don't have to pay the insurance on this sucker.
You don't own it once stuff starts failing.
Right. And I said,
right?
Yeah. And we rent the trailers. They show up, they're delivered. They pick them up when we leave,
That's cool. That's not
bad.
I mean, I'm not going to do it, but that sounds okay.
I said, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. You can go to Outdoorsy or
RV
Share, and people have trailers, and really nice modern trailers too. And that you just have them delivered, and they'll drop them off at the track, and they'll pick them up when they're done.
Here I am writing notes again.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
There's-
it's really handy.
It's
There's
not
this-
any
there's
less
this podcast.
expensive than a hotel, but there is the
Right.
convenience of remaining at the track all weekend and not having to.
Right. And
Yeah.
just currently we're living out of Jennifer's trailer due to COVID, so we don't
And
have
it's
to.
working though. It's working.
It is.
It
For
is.
right now, it is.
Yeah.
But it's
So
a
back to
necessity.
prepping for a track.
Yes. Track prep.
So, being the anal prep person that I am,
Oh yeah.
I have track notes. I watch videos. I actually take these notes from videos and put them together, and then I'll watch a video to make sure that my notes are right. And then I hand these to Vicky and Jennifer and everybody else on our team, and they don't read them. But I have them for every track we go to. If you want to know what's going on at Mid-Ohio, here you go. And
Yeah.
it's got my little notes, and then we also have track maps that we put inside the trailer.
That's a great new addition.
It is. I like
I
it.
do have to say, we have these 3x4 foot track maps that are laminated that we can write on with the dry erase markers, and we hang them up inside the car trailer, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
that was nice. At this last race, Bill brought me over and he went over the turns. It was very helpful. Except
Yeah.
you must have skipped over 8.
No, I showed you how to. You're supposed to
That's
go
the one she
straight,
wrecked on.
not right. It's a straight, not a right.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I had those too, but mine weren't fancy like yours. They weren't Excel spreadsheets. I have like a folder, a binder. I don't use it anymore, but a binder just full of
Yeah.
drawings and notes and flags and turns and
see, I
remember.
did that, but it got dirty.
Yeah.
And, you know, then
Rained
I had
on
to. Yeah, exactly. Greasy
Yeah.
fingers, whatever.
Yeah.
So Danielle, what was your major aha moment when you were driving? I mean, I'm sure you probably had a couple. At one point, did it all just come together and just go, oh?
I don't
TBD.
Yeah, I think that I didn't think that I could ever, and I still think this a lot, depending on who I'm with, that I could be fast like the other people, right? Like this can be fun and I can like it, but I'm not going to be fast like that. And then I don't remember when or where or what day. I just remember there was a day that I was like, holy cow, I'm actually pretty fast. Now, granted, I have a fast car, so that takes care of a lot of it, which is why I'm trying to loop in other kinds of cars so that I'm not simply relying on that power, but I could take a turn or a corner or whatever it was. But, you know, a lot of it was having an instructor, like having a Ben that's like, okay, try it this way. And then you try it and all of a sudden you're going twice as fast as you were the last time. When I could start to do that and when I could start to feel things on my own without someone telling me, you know what I mean? That made a huge difference where it was sort of a moment of knowing that I could do this well. I didn't have to be the fastest person, and there's always going to be somebody faster, but I understood the dynamics of a car, you know, the G-forces and feeling a limit. I could take out my husband's E46 the first time, and he's like, well, just shake it loose for me. I need you to shake it loose. I'm like, okay.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it means to wreck it, which is basically what happened, but not wreck it into a wall, just break something. Power steering.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah. Make sure it's okay. And I could get into a car I didn't know and drive it fast with all the other people going fast, and I was okay. You know what I mean? It wasn't simply reliant upon the car. It was the knowledge I had gained and just hadn't really realized I'd gained it until I started driving different cars other than my own. But I mean, the aha moment was quite frankly the first time I did it. That was the first time that I knew I was going to like doing it and that we were going to be broke for the rest of our lives because we were going to keep doing it.
You gotta get overtime now.
Yep.
I understood.
Oh,
That's awesome. I
that
want to be
is.
there. That's where I want to be.
You're on your way.
Now,
I
how
know.
long have you been racing already?
Racing one time, but being at the track and doing track events, this is my 6th season.
Okay.
Mhm.
And how many do you normally do a year?
We usually do, it depends on the year, but 8 to 10, you know, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's about
And how
what you
far
guys
do you
did.
normally travel?
We've been sticking to mostly local just because we did have the camper for a while. And it was kind of a scary thing to tug that and take the cars. And now that we have 2 track cars, dedicated track cars, we have stayed close to home at NC Car and VIR. And then we've been to Dominion. We have a goal of going to CMP for sure and Road Atlanta, branching out a little bit. Maybe
You're
some.
gonna love CMP for sure. I haven't been to Summit, but I know you're gonna love CMP.
Especially repaved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't even look at the times, but it looks like it may have gotten a little quicker with the rebate.
It did. It did. No, tire wear seems to have gone down too. So.
Oh, cool.
So.
Yeah. The story.
And Road Atlanta, I mean, got to get to Road Atlanta. It's the Mecca.
Yeah.
Big boy track.
Everybody likes it.
I love it. Ugh. Almost as much as VIR.
What is your favorite racetrack?
VIR.
Yeah. VIR.
Everybody says VIR. We got to go to VIR.
Well,
Oh,
I got an offer for October 3rd while I'm away if you want to go.
No,
Love it.
I'm not going down there by myself.
No.
I'm not going down there by myself.
It's fairly daunting. I mean, I think Danielle, at least at one point when I knew you were kind of like, I'm not really sure I'm ready for full course. And I was like, yes, hell you are. But I mean,
Yeah.
at least your standpoint was like, I don't think I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, but once you do it, even just one track event, that's enough to be comfortable going out and doing it. But I mean, there's a back stretch where you get going so fast and you're so high up, the elevation feels so high that you're like, you're going to fly right off the track or something.
Yeah.
I had one time something was wrong with the underneath of the car and the air was getting up underneath the hood and the hood was fluttering just the tiniest amount. And I was like, oh, hell no, we're going in. It was like,
I hate that.
Yeah, the hood's going to go flying. It didn't, but,
Mhm.
scary enough.
That part where she's talking about where you feel like you're at the top of the world, you're just going to fly on the track. That's where people like me and like low power cars, that's where we're hitting fifth gear and hoping for more. Like, give me 3 more miles per hour.
Oh,
She's going like 180 in her Mustang, and I'm going like trying to get it to like 112 right there.
God.
oh, yeah.
So I'm going to wrap this part up, and we're going to move on to Fast and Furious story time. Are you familiar with that, Danielle?
No.
Okay, Fast and Furious Storytime questions. We get to know you just a little bit better. We're going to kind of dip into your past, and it's they're fun and usually pretty rapid shots. So,
Okay.
Jennifer, you want to kick us off?
Sure.
Dating.
So, Danielle, what was your very first car? And what was your worst car you've ever had? And what car from your childhood or family sticks out? First car.
Dodge Omni.
What? A Dodge Omni.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
we haven't had that before.
It was terrible, but it wasn't my worst car because I moved out when I was quite young. I thought I was an adult, but it really wasn't. So my mom's like, fine, you're an adult, get your own car. So I bought a $50 Ford Mustang, a Ford Escort, excuse me, that didn't, like, the seats were not attached to the floor, and it was a stick shift, and like you could see the ground around that area because it was so rusted.
Yeah, we had one of those.
Yeah.
It was a Pinto. That was our Pinto.
That was the danger car. But I actually did listen to a podcast recently where I had sent Ben a text message because I was laughing because you guys asked that question of what was the car from childhood that you remember. And before he had answered, I was like, oh, totally my dad's Cougar without question. And then I was laughing because he said a Cougar that his aunt had or something. But
Yeah.
I had that Cougar, and my dad did not have a driver's license my entire childhood. I'm not even kidding you. It was just a terrible story that I won't get into. He always drove. He just didn't have a driver's license. That's how he rolled. But he wouldn't let anybody touch his cars. You couldn't touch it. You couldn't do anything. So I told my husband, I just told him the other day, I was telling the story when I was 12. I remember my mom and dad went someplace in the other car, the not Cougar. So I stole that bitch and drove it around the block because we lived in the middle of nowhere. We had like dirt roads.
Yes.
The day I got home, he said, "Did you move the car?" And I was like, "What? I don't even know. Like, why would I touch your car?" And he knew. Somehow he knew. I put everything back in place, and he just, because he knew, you know. But yeah, that car was epic because it could do like fishtailing and stuff, and yeah. So I stole it and drove it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drive it like you stole it, baby.
Yeah, oh, yes. And your dad loved you enough to come home, know that you did it, still try to act like he didn't know, and then this comes cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, he maybe thought he was wrong, but at the same time, he knew. But what could he say? He didn't have a driver's license, so it's not like he could say a lot.
Yeah, what is he going to do? Call the cops on his illegal car? That's great.
Yeah.
You can set a bad example too. You don't have to just set a good example.
Are you talking to me?
I'm just saying.
I'm doing that now.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
Right, Bill, you're up.
Oh, I am. So, Danielle, there's this thing that we call the taproot car. I've heard it somewhere before. It's the car that got you into cars, or the car that started the whole thing. It could be the noise, it could be the speed, it could be just the shape or the color, or it could be, a matchbox thing. I don't really care. So do you have one that you would say that's where this whole thing started?
I would say I have multiples, oddly enough, but I can remember the first time I drove a power car. And I can't remember what it was. I feel like it was an old Chevy Camaro, but it was one that was rebuilt. It was a kid from high school, and like it had the high beams on the floor with your foot. That old, whatever year that would have been. And he said, "Do you want to drive it?" And I was like, "Okay." And then we were driving down the road, and again, we lived up in the middle of nowhere, and he was like, "We got to get on it all the way." And I was like, "No way, man," because I didn't know what to expect. And he was like, "Just do it. You're going to love it." And I did it, and he was right. And to this day, I remember that. That was like, how old am I now? 40? That was 25 years ago almost. I mean, I was 16 when I did it.
Awesome.
I was like, oh
That is awesome.
Things like that exist. But when I got a little older and I lived down here, I bought a Chevy Impala, which sounds like a weird car to like, but it was brand new when I bought it. And that thing was like banging. Like I was like the most badass human being ever in my mind in that car. It's like a grandma sedan or something. I don't really know, but to me it wasn't, because it was fast and it was black, and I just loved that car. So that started the thing with always wanting to have a good car or a nice car. I'm constantly trying to get a faster car,
Right.
It's terrible. It's a disease.
So Danielle, what is the one thing that no one knows about you that would surprise them? Or are you just an open book?
Yeah, I would say that's probably the truth. I'm to a default. I tell too much. I don't know.
Podcast guest.
Yeah. I'm an overshare sometimes, so there's not much that people don't know. Oh, well, I mean, I could probably think of things, but we don't want to talk about those. They're boring.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, right.
All right, since you're punting on this, what's the one thing that no one knows about Ben that would surprise them?
Oh, that's a good one.
I probably don't know it either.
Dang.
Damn, I thought we had a shot. All right, fine. Next.
All right. So let's see. Automatic, stick, or don't care?
Stick, definitely.
That's
I
good.
just bought an automatic for my daily driver, and I'm already trying to find a car just about every day of my life to get rid of it and replace it with the stick again.
Yeah.
So how many times have you hopped in your daily driver, it being where I'm going with this. Yeah. It being automatic and you start shifting on it and you realize it's the brakes.
Stomp your foot down for the clutch. Yeah.
Left foot goes to the floor. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Car
better
screech just to a stop.
just drive your head through the window. I did that for a while. But now I'm not doing it anymore, which is probably why I'm scared and need to go back.
Yeah, you gotta get back on the horse. You're definitely getting too comfortable.
Yeah.
Let me ask my own quick fire lightning round question out of nowhere. Are you a left foot breaker on track or no?
No. I tried and that went bad.
What is a left breaker?
When you use your left foot to brake.
Left foot braking. Yeah, we're talking about braking with your left foot when you're not shifting gears, which is
I
something
never
some
heard
people
that.
do. Oh yeah, people do it.
Yeah, I wanted
Sounds
to.
like a dominating with Dawson topic.
Yeah. Didn't work for me. Took me enough time to figure out how to heel and toe. Left foot braking, I just haven't gotten mastered yet at all.
Oh yeah. We often talk about techniques like that on this show when I'm doing the dominating with Dawson part, and usually that is the stuff I think of as like the frosting on the cake, where there are plenty of national champions who don't match revs in Spec Miata and still win the runoffs, never matching a rev. Or, you know what I mean? There are plenty of people who don't do all the stuff we say are the finer points of driving and are very fast. So I'm just curious.
Well,
Right.
It's important to, like Vicky didn't even know you could brake with your left foot. So it's important to
It just sounds awkward.
Yeah, neither did Alex Zanardi when he went to Formula One, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right. So Danielle, do you have a favorite race car driver?
Ben Dawson.
Wow, biggest fan.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh.
I know she's got a real answer.
Aim higher.
Yeah, it's got to be Earnhardt if it's not me, for sure.
Yeah. I like drivers, but I don't pay that much attention to the drivers. I pay a lot of attention to the cars.
That's cool.
Depending on whatever I'm watching, I'm like trying to figure out if, is this car BMW? Is that one a Porsche? Is that one a Ford? So I spend a lot of time trying to figure out the cars. Now, we know some people that are in our circuit that drive, I don't know if it's semi-professionally or professionally. And so if their name pops up, I'm like, oh, that's Rob. We know Rob.
Oh, yeah.
My husband's like, I don't know who you're talking about. Who?
That's
Hi, remember? And he's like, no, I don't know who you're talking about.
Sounds like Vicky and I.
That's true. We do sort of know a guy. I've definitely talked to him at the track a few times who's now racing IMSA GS class. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you see him go by in his Audi. It's like, oh, it's the guy from Hardpoint Motorsports. He's just like, oh, yeah, I've talked about driving on the track with that guy and know him. It's kind of weird seeing somebody on TV that you know.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Jen.
Okay. So next question is front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or does it even matter?
Rear wheel drive. Now that I'm so used to that as well. It's the only thing that I'm comfortable driving.
Can't tell you're from the Ben Dawson tree at all so far. Favorite track, VIR, rear wheel drive.
So, do you have a car that got away that you wish you had again?
Well, no. I had a
Not that Escort.
Yeah, no. I had a Mustang before the one I have now that we wish we would have kept for a track car, but never one that I had that I got rid of that I wish I would have kept. I had one I wish I would have bought a few weeks ago that sort of fell through and I didn't. It's gone now. I'm a little
Was it?
bummed about that.
What was it?
A BMW M3,
Oh, wow. What year?
2018.
Whoa! Going for
Beefy.
the brass ring.
Yeah.
I want to ride. Yeah, you're going to get one, and I want to ride.
Yeah. I don't know if it was so bad that it didn't work out because afterwards I'm like, we need a new roof. I feel like this is like not the right direction. Like screw it. I'd rather have the car.
The BMW had a roof.
Yeah, that's right. There's a roof on the BMW. You can sleep in there.
Yeah. You can do everything in the car.
That's awesome.
I can't wait for this one, Jen.
So I know, right? Just it's gonna be sad for me. What is the fastest you have ever driven a car? What car? Where and when?
Oh, I want to hear this.
Well, it's not that exciting because I probably already said it, but it was definitely my car, which is the Mustang.
Jesse.
13, yep, Jesse, which is his affectionate name is Jesse. And I think I was the one time I could look, because you can't really look, right? When you're going that fast, it's not like, let me take a look. You're just like going. But I sort of got a glimpse, and it was about 144, which is kind of tops for that car because it's only going to go so fast unless, you know, everything is on point. I've been faster in other people's cars with them back there in the back straight of VIR, but that's the fastest I've been, which was fast enough.
Yeah, that's our kind of our hot stretch of the fastest place most of us can reference is the back stretch of VIR locally here. Have you had students who had faster cars than yours at this point already, Danielle?
No, knock on wood. Well, I mean, I had one girl that I've had a few times. She's my friend now, but hers is an automatic. It's a newer Mustang, so it probably is faster at some level, but she can't drive it faster, so we don't know yet.
All right. Well, you guys will get there, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I've had so many students. I mean, I've been like 170 miles an hour with a student before, which I shouldn't have done. I didn't know at the time. I could just tell, like, hey, there's a speed limit and this is what it is. It was like my second student. But yeah, like I've been so fast in cars, in students' cars, but never stuff I've driven. I think the fastest I've gone is 130.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ben's driving isn't about how fast the car is going, it's how fast the car is turning.
Yep.
Ooh, that's good though.
You lost your cookies, and remember and we were at NC car and he was like, well, we'll just come on, we'll go, I'll show you the line in my car. And it was like his daily driver that I don't remember what that thing was, Ben. It was a Ford Focus.
That was my Focus ST.
He had like all his work stuff in there, and he had a hat flinging and something flinged over on me. He's like, oh, oops, sorry, don't worry about that. And he's moving stuff as he's driving, and he's going like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And my husband and I we make fun of, you know, riding with Ben and him. He could like read a newspaper as he's going around the corner like a psycho. Yeah.
I took him out. That was when I had the station wagon. Didn't I take Jay out too?
Oh yeah,
Did he go
several times. Yeah. And Griffin too, my son.
Oh yeah, that's right. Grip, because Grip is he 20 now?
Yeah, 19, almost 20.
Oh yeah, he's a great kid too. Is he on? We getting him on track yet?
I've been trying because I think that he would like it, but honestly, I think he's scared to death of my driving. So he's kind of like, if that's what this shit is gonna be, I'm not into it. You know, like. He was just telling a story the other day to his friend. He's like, and then one morning, she was mad at me and she peeled off of the road and it was raining. And we did like a 360. And I was like, no, we didn't. We did not. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, we kind of did. Yeah, I think we did.
That adage, hold on, kids, mom's driving, really just pertains to Danielle.
I'll tell you. I scare him now. I do it just for fun because I kind of look over like, is he, you know, and then I'm thinking, what are you doing? You can't like teach your kid that that's funny because then he doesn't because he's terrified. So he drives like a grandpa. It worked out, right?
Yeah, I mean, you ultimately got what you wanted, right? He drives like a grandpa. You got what you wanted as a parent.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. For me, like Nora's already begging. She's like, "Daddy, fast turn. Daddy, fast turn." I'm like, all right. So what's that noise? I'm like, well, that's the tire scream. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, let's edit this back up.
Oh, there's no chance. That's coming. All right. Well, you know, the thing I'd like to take from that last story is at least Ben does the podcast the same way he teaches his students how to drive while reading the newspaper and playing with, you know, with all kinds of stuff while he's driving. Yeah. It's just like when he's on the podcast. Every now and then he's playing with like nuts and bolts and stuff. And I'm like, I can't edit that out. Anyway. So we have this habit of over-promising and under-delivering. But suppose that we were to give you on our desert island, we have a track, and we were to give you your top 5 cars. What cars would you want us to have on our island for you?
I have to have a Ford Mustang because it's always done me right no matter what.
What kind? I mean, there's 50 plus years.
And 197, which is like a 2011 to 2014 range. Those are the best ones to me.
Okay.
Mustang. I now want a BMW M3. I don't really care what year at this point. If I can just get my hands on one, I'll see how it goes because I really have no idea if I like them or not. It's just a faster upgrade of what I currently have.
Okay.
Porsche. Every time I see one, like we recently watched Bad Boys for Life, and I was like, I don't know what that car is, but I want that car. And my husband's like, I don't think for $140,000 we want that car. And I was like, ah. What else would I want? I don't know. I've always been a Chevelle person, but everybody's kind of a old school Chevelle kind of a person, right?
But you mean like 2 headlights or 4 headlights? Do you have a preference?
No, like the ones in Fast and Furious.
Tight. I got you. I don't even remember which one that is, but they're all badass.
Yeah, I don't know, because he just drives it and he's wild. I could be wild in that car.
Very fun.
Yeah, scary grill.
Yeah, of course.
So if you got a dream car for a race to start a build from, would you do the Mustang or would you do something else?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the Mustang would be what I know, but we were looking at Porsche's, what are they, 718, I think?
Yeah, 718.
We were looking at those, and then like the high-end ones that are like the sport models with all the trim and all the stuff, and I'm like, man, I bet those would be awesome to race. They just look cool. You know, and people always like them. Everyone that has one, I've never talked to somebody that has one that didn't love it. Except remember that Porsche that blew up in front of us, Ben? That Porsche that blew the motor up and pieces were flying.
Yeah, we were like at that point we were just like, hey, let's just try to dodge this piston, dodge this part. We'll be okay. That was scary. It dumped all its guts.
Right. No, I said, do I keep going? Ben's like, no, I think we need to get off the track slowly, but get off the track.
Like now we need to get off the track.
Not so fast.
It's a personal red flag.
Yeah.
So if you could only drive race cars from one decade in the past, what decade would you choose?
Gosh. I feel like the 70s had a lot of muscle cars. I feel like I'm a muscle car kind of person.
Sounds like it.
You know, like I like the faster, smaller things, but I'm still a muscle car. I like the sounds and the horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
So it would probably be the 70s, stuff from the 70s, because that's a lot of that beefy, cool looking stuff.
Beefy.
And they're nice looking.
They are. All right. So Jeremy, Hammond, May, Chris, Matt, other.
What?
Perfect.
See?
I always love to hear just that answer.
Totally me.
Perfect answer. Always.
They're the car show guys from Top Gear.
Oh, no. Not that that's not cool, but car shows we realized real early on was definitely not our gig.
I will say, as a public service announcement, 2 episodes ago at the time of recording, the newest Top Gear, they had one session where they were doing, they had to catch as many golf balls as they could in their car from a driving range. And each of them had to dress up in different protective is in quotes, gear. Probably one of the best segments they've ever done. Hilarious.
You know what I think is funny is you guys watch Roadkill?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, we like that one. Just because they'll take whatever car, right? And soup it up and go. And, you know, they'll catch air with some old conversion van or something.
Sounds like you're a Lemons driver and you just don't know it yet.
Oh. So Danielle, where would your ultimate road trip be to, and in what car?
I had just recently talked about doing this, but I really would like to just go straight across the country. You know, like if I went North Carolina, California, in whatever way, north and south I went. The car I would take, I don't know, but the recent story that came up was taking my best friend, and if I got this BMW M3, that was how the whole thing started. It was a white car, so I was going to call it Blanche, and she and I were going to like Thelma and Louise it and roll across the country.
Saw the end of the movie though, right?
Yeah, we're not going to do that part.
Okay. All right, just make
Jen
sure.
does that every summer.
I love
End of
it.
the movie?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Tried in South Dakota that one time.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a story.
Go ahead, Jen. We've
That's
got
a whole
time.
other episode. So let's see. What's your favorite movie or car from a movie of all time? Or favorite car movie or car?
It probably, as cheesy as it sounds, was the original Fast and Furious. I mean, and that came out forever ago, right? Because
Seems like it.
Yeah, I know. God, I got old. Because I loved Vin Diesel in that movie, and I love all the cars that they have in them. But, like my husband pulls up weird shows, like the movie, and I already forgot the name of it. I wish he was out here. The one where the guy goes across country in the car, and he's transporting cocaine or something. God, I can't remember the name of that movie.
It got to be from the 80s.
It's
We've
even
had
older.
lots of different answers for that. I love the one. Who was it? Was it Pineapple?
Could
She
be.
said chitty chitty bang bang. Just like, she goes, can I just say nobody said chitty chitty bang bang yet.
Used to
I'm
watch
like,
that every
that's
year.
true. That was an awesome car.
That's right.
The car did everything.
It did. Okay. I can't wait for Vicky to realize she's on mute.
I thought I unmuted.
Nope.
So what car would you love to switch with on the racetrack that you're currently racing against? Would you like to go in Ben's car?
Already in Ben's car.
Yeah, she did. That's her race car.
I like another one of our teammates, Reed, has a BMW that he's put a lot of work into it. And I have driven it once, but only for like 2 minutes. But when we're at the track, I secretly sometimes want him to get him to switch with me because it's a really cool car. And it's a lot of fun.
He would love to drive Jesse or whatever you have at the track. So just swap out. I guarantee you can go drive Reed's car anytime you want.
What kind of car?
What's he have?
So
an
Reed-
M6?
So yeah, Reed's car is an E36 M3, which she's already driven once, and I'm sure I'm glad. I'm sure Reed will listen to this and be like, "Oh, you just volunteered my car," but I'm sure it's totally fine for you to drive that again. And I guarantee he wants to drive your Mustang all around the track 100 times. I drove Jesse at NC Car one time. Even.
Yeah.
With the newspaper?
It is.
No, it had the nannies on. Is that what you called them? You're like, what's
Yeah,
why is it stopping me? He's got like ABS and traction control kicking in, and the whole car. I'm like, this thing's gonna burst into flames. Like, I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah, I think because I guess with those cars, you can kind of turn some of that stuff off. So like the first lap or two, I'd forgotten to try to turn any of it off. Then we're driving around trying to turn that stuff off. But I think even in some cases with modern cars, even if you think you've got all of the aids like traction control or whatever other aids are on the car, even if you think you have them all turned off, sometimes they can still jump in to interfere if they think you're really out of control, which Danielle's car thought we were out of control a lot.
Yeah.
It's fun. It was a lot of fun. I've never driven a car where you can just stomp on the gas and it just takes off like that. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So our next question is, what car, if any, would you want to wipe away from history?
I don't think any car should be wiped away from history. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Way to pollute the question, but go ahead.
Sorry.
I don't have one I don't like that much either. Oh no, okay, maybe a smart.
Maybe there's one.
Smart? Did you say
maybe
smart
a
car?
smart car. I'm not saying the concept isn't good. I'm just saying the general appearance just drives me nuts.
So they can improve on the appearance and maybe consider it.
That's an understatement.
Bigger, which kind of defeats the purpose.
Make it not look like a golf cart. Yeah.
Make it look like a dumb car. I don't know.
Yeah, something, anything. So we asked you before, I believe your favorite track so far is VIR. Is that true?
Yep.
Okay.
What's your second favorite track?
Well, my track experience is rather limited, so it's NC Car really, because I've been to Dominion, but not enough to like it enough. So NC Car is the only other one I've really been to.
What's the goal track? Do you have a white whale out there?
Definitely Road Atlanta.
Okay.
It
Oh,
seems
yeah.
close enough that I can get to that. So that one, it's not so much like I really want to get to that one. It's just I have no excuses not to, and I think it'll be fun. So CMP, as soon as things get back to normal a little bit, we'll definitely get there.
Okay. Well, just remember, no matter what you think, turn 12 is bigger.
At Road Atlanta, yeah.
bigger. Yes. So, you're relatively recently started. I mean, you've been doing this longer than we have, but still, I mean, I don't think either of us have reached potential. But as far as high performance driving and racing, how much do you think of it is like learned, or how much of it is just natural skill?
I think you can learn most of it, really. I think that it's not like some people are. I think you can have a natural aptitude for it, which puts you maybe in a different bracket, or how. But if you want to learn it, you can learn it. Is my point. If you can overcome your fear, but I do think there's a slight bit of it that might have been learned along the way. Like stealing your dad's car, or
Yeah.
having a dad that probably outraced the police several times. I don't know. A little bit of that. Yeah.
I could see that. All right. Well, do you use any of the social medias and put up silly pictures of yourself having fun? Is there any way people could follow along, see what's going on?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I have Facebook and Instagram, and I do a lot of car related stuff. Awesome. I always have, because I was so excited in the very beginning. I still am, but I think people notice when you're super excited like that, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm excited too. I don't know what we're excited about." Or people who do it, who know how excited they are about it, they're like, "Yeah, what she said. That's it. Yeah."
Okay. Well, that's fantastic.
I know that we got the Oscars style like wrap it up sign from Vicky, but I did send this email out like a week ago that said, "Hey, we should talk to Danielle because we served her up for her first race in a car that was terrible to drive." So I did want to admit that we did that to her for her first race with Winsome Racing, and I just wanted to say that we put her in a tough spot, and there's a story behind that maybe we want to tell at some point too. But that's definitely we threw her into the lion's den in a really tough competitive field with Champ Car in this area. And we gave her a car that was handling really evil. So I think there's a little bit to talk about there. See if we have any time for it.
Oh, we got time. Vicky just had something fell. I think the dog or the cat or something.
I thought that was like the let's wrap it up, don't talk anymore.
No.
Yeah. Oh, because there is definitely a big story about what we did to Danielle in her first race.
Oh, no.
Well, please share.
Well, wait. So we have the ability to have a natural dominating with Dawson, and I am going to take care of this.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure this is ground we might cover tonight.
We will. I was going into the dominating with Dawson segment with this.
All right.
Dominating with Dawson.
So Ben, I hear you've been an instructor for a while. You've got a race team down there with Winsome Racing. I know that we've made a couple mistakes getting Vicky and Jennifer started racing as a team, and perhaps didn't do things as well as they could. And since we have Danielle on, perhaps there's a bit of a story that we may need to get into, and of perhaps an example of what not to do.
Well, yeah, we definitely we had a chance to bring a new racer into the fold when we had a chance to get Danielle to come race our car. It was an event where I could race the car for whatever reason, and we needed somebody to come run with us. And I had been friends with Danielle. Like by this point, she's become a family friend. We all hang out together and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's time for Danielle to start racing cars. So before she ever knew it, like our team was like, hey, we got started to get really excited about this. We're like, hey, we should see if Danielle wants to come do this. Like if everything else works out, timing wise, schedule wise, and everything. So. Like even before she knew it, we were plotting on it. We're like, hey, this is gonna be great. She's gonna get so excited. So at some point, we were like, hey, I don't know who did it, but I was like, one of us texted her and said like, Ben can't make it to the race. Can you come race? And that was kind of I think where we started out, trying to get her to come race our car. So we all have known her forever, and we're excited because at least all of us knew that she was really competitive and was ready to get door to door and get really fast.
I think there's more to the story. I think perhaps the car might not have been exactly ready.
Well, so I think Danielle was pretty excited. Am I right about that?
Oh yeah.
And this is a track that she knew pretty well, but it was a configuration that she hadn't run before. So I think NASA used to run the North Course at VIR a lot, but Champ Car definitely runs it at least once a year in the wintertime. So it's a lot like most of the course, except for it just cuts off the S's and Oak Tree, and you kind of rejoin at the end of the back straight. So that's sort of the north section of the course. So it was a course that was new to her. Part of it was new to kind of the cut through section that takes you from the bridge straight before you get to the S's, brings you back out to roller coaster sort of. So that was the section that was going to be new to her. So when we talked about learning a new track earlier in her episode, we talked about how she watched a bunch of video and was trying to get ready for this particular track configuration. But still pretty excited, right, Danielle?
Oh yeah, I was excited.
So I think, we did a test weekend right before it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a track event with the group that we usually run with. We had the car there. We were going to try a new front aero. I'm not even sure if that made it to the race. We were going to try this kind of new front air dam and new things. But one of the other new things that we had decided to add to the welded diff, we were already running a welded diff with a really short ratio that was working great with the setup we had on the car. What we changed right before the race for Danielle is trying to live up to Champ Car's rules of you can only add so many modifications until you reach 500 points or something like that, and then you have to start taking penalties. So we've been trying to kind of live up to their rule set, and so we were running these just the stock sway bars because you would have to take a bunch of points on your build if you added good sway bars. And this, for getting ready for this race, we just had a team text thread say, hey, screw it. We're getting good sway bars. I'm tired of the way this thing handles. Let's get good sway bars and really make this thing a fun hot ride we want to drive. That's going to make a different car. So we did that. Didn't think about how much different it was going to make the car, and that's sort of what put us where we ended up with at the race with Danielle. So we took the car to test it, and we didn't realize how bad the really stiff sway bars were going to interact with the welded diff, because we also at the test day we couldn't get the front end aligned. We didn't realize we had some kind of bolt or something like that was letting the front end alignment wander the entire weekend. So we never really got a good handle on what was going on with the car, and we sure didn't realize that the special sway bars we added were really going to make that welded diff turn into what was a beloved member of the family into Chucky the evil, like devil child. That's where Danielle gets into the car because we got the front end tightened up, and then we showed up to the track to race.
So Danielle, they're taking care of you. They're bringing you to, I believe it was your first race, and then they hand you Chucky, and I guess you're supposed to be the bride of Chucky on this racetrack. And how'd that go?
I had no idea. I really no clue. The only thing I knew is after I had went once, maybe I'd done a stint. One of our other teammates, Reed, he's like, it feels like it's really loose in the back end. And I was like, is it? I don't so I'm like, yeah, maybe it is. And then after that, but I do know that when I was driving, I had driven it before, like Ben said, and got a fairly good feel for it. Well, it felt different to me, but, for all I knew, they tightened or loosened. Clearly they did, right? But I just had to roll with it. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. And when you turn in on the North Course where they cut off the S's, God knows, I would do like a 180. Like every third lap, I'm like, they're going to kick me off of this team if I can't keep this damn car straight and on the track.
Oh, sorry.
Lose the back and turn around. And then I'd get back on the track, and I didn't. And it probably, in hindsight, had to do with that, or that was sort of what we figured out. I mean, inexperience with the car and just trying to be fast enough, but it was the whole event was entertaining for a multitude of reasons, but that part that was not like a huge thing on my radar because I didn't even know well enough to know what I didn't know. So they all knew it, but I just kept rolling with it.
I didn't even know that I didn't even know you spun the car a few times. That's great.
I thought I told you that.
I probably did. I don't know, but anyway, that's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so when you said that you said that the handling was kind of the least important thing on your mind, or that day, what else were you thinking about?
I kept losing
on your first race.
Like the dash, I would lose the dash, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't really know." Like, so I would have to use my ears. And then the one time I thought I lost the clutch. I could not get it into gear, and like I tried everything. in my mind that I knew how to do. And I'm like, they're going to hate me because I just ruined this car. And then that was the part where you're talking about getting to know your teammates differently than you thought you knew them.
Oh,
and
please.
Hans is another one of our teammates, and he was hilarious because he's like the super friendliest, like the sweetest fella you'll ever meet, right? And you'll, hi, and he's just so nice. And in that moment, he's like, well, what's the problem? I'm like, I don't know. It won't go into gear. I cannot get, okay, well, turn back on. Now do it. Go forward. And it worked, right? Of course. After I got towed in, it worked. And he looked at me and he said, okay, it works. Get back out there. And I was like, oh my God, he's really intense. Like he was like your dad that you don't want to let down. And I was like, I'm staying in this car now. I don't care what happens. I'm sitting in this seat and I'm going. And I lost the dash and I lost my little ears where they tell me what to do and not do. And I was like, forget it. I'm rolling in fourth and we're just going. And I just watched the clock to make sure I did enough time. You know what I mean? Because I was not going to let Hans down because I knew when I got back there, he was going to have that look of disappointment. And I was like, he means business. So I was going to get it done. So that was what the whole thing was, just about doing my part the best I could, even without any of the provided tools, because I lost them all, and just listened to the car and rolled with it. And then I was having a blast.
It sounds like we at least left you a tiny watch, probably strapped to the roll cage way up out of your eye line. Yep. So our car, we were in the very nice Auto Sports Lab, the Brent Picasso deal.
Uh-huh.
It's on a tablet, but I guess we'd lost that in the car with Danielle. So we threw her like every possible bad thing. You said something else that was bad that I didn't even realize. Oh, I guess I didn't know. I didn't know the thing about the transmission. What was the other thing? I don't know.
Audio. But I lost.
Yeah. So even though I painted this thing to be this horrible story, there were like 5 more layers of bad that I didn't know. So that was her first race. But something for new racers to listen to and pick up from her story is that she looked around, figured out what context could help her. Like, all right, I know I need to be out here for this amount of time. I know that there's this guy back in the pits who's going to act like a weird dad if I don't get back at the right time, so I should stay out. But also a really smart thing that she did, because the car was handling so bad, even though this was something that wasn't at the forefront of her mind, is that the car was weird enough where she's like, I'm not sure how hot it is. I'm not sure how many RPMs I'm running, but I know that I can get around this course in 4th gear and still be able to kind of get up off the corner. So she made a really good choice as a pretty seasoned driver and instructor and somebody who's been on the track a long time to just kind of go, all right, here's what I can do with this car right now is I can kind of keep it going around the track. I can go around in 4th gear and still race it. So she did a great job. I don't remember how I got roped into that day, but I think I got a phone call or something as the race was going on because I couldn't do it for some kind of kid thing. But maybe at some point somebody said, can you come up here? Because I live an hour from the track. And so I had to come up. They came up there. The car is handling so bad. Can you come up here and drive it and see if something is really wrong with it? Is that right, Danielle? Do I remember that right?
I can't remember. I feel like you committed to someone else.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I was already going to be there because somebody from Race Bar had been like, hey, do you want to come drive some free time in our race car? And I was like, well, I wasn't going to be there. But then I was like, cool, I'll come do that. So that's what it was. So I was already at the track for some reason. But yeah, I went down and drove the car and it was evil. Like tying the welded diff together with some actual good sway bars had made that thing a monster that needed more tuning than we had done. So it was. I loved the car. Like for me, it was great because it had never been that free. So like the car was always just the butt end was stepping up the way I had wished it would do the entire time. But it was only good for me. Like that was a car that would only suit me and nobody else on our team. Not to mention somebody who was their first race. So it was crazy. But that was the situation we stuck Danielle into for her first race. So I thought that was a pretty crazy one, and she handled herself pretty well, just kind of figuring out like, hey, here's what we can get done with this car on the track, and she kept it out there.
Yeah, it was still a blast.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So Danielle, would you like to feel better about your first time in a race car?
Why? How?
Jennifer.
How? Tell me how.
Jennifer, what did we do to you for your first time on a racetrack?
Well, Bill came down for like a minute and taught me how to drive a stick shift.
Left the car.
Wow.
Left the car. And then we went to a race. And I still hadn't grasped the entire concept of it.
She learned how to drive a stick in a week, and then Bill put her on a racetrack.
Yeah. That's definitely learning there.
In the rain.
Go on.
Right.
In the
Christened
rain.
by fire.
In the
And it was
rain.
a track. It was a track that has a steep enough uphill that you got stuck a few times. Like, I'm not going to make it up this hill, and I had to like retry to find
Was
the
it
right
that?
gear. Right?
Was that the same
was-
track, or was that the second time?
It was the second time.
This is the
Okay.
second time.
It was the
Even
second-
though I could drive stick a little bit by then, didn't do hills because Delaware's flat. Like, didn't even get to practice on hills yet.
So my favorite part, and Ben's probably going to think this is pretty funny. So Jennifer gets in. Was it El Jefe or was it the Mustang? Which one was it? I think it was the Mustang.
First one I drove, the very
Mustang.
first time.
Yeah, Mustang had to be the Mustang because we didn't break it yet. We didn't break the Capri yet.
I drove
The
to
Capri.
that race. I drove the Capri and the Mustang, so I don't know which one was first though.
Okay, so just a little bit of background. So we've got
She
a
drove the Capri first.
okay. So we've got a '74 Capri, and then at the time we had an '84 Mustang. So I lend her a car so she can learn how to drive a stick, and she's driving a 2017 BMW M240i. Okay. So she's driving this M240i. She's getting quite comfortable. She gets to the track for New Hampshire, and she goes to take the car around just to get a little practice in. And she goes, "This clutch is totally different." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a 1984 Mustang."
It didn't dawn on her that the clutches would be different.
Yeah, why does this feel different? Well, I
He
don't know.
told me. It's like, wait a minute, they're shifting over to the side instead of up and down.
This one has a Hulk hand on it instead of a shift ball. What is going on here? So
That's
yeah,
okay. But you know what? I still got out there and did it.
that's right.
Right. She did.
So, moral to the story, I think you both agree. Whether the first time you get on track is set up perfectly for you or
Or not.
not quite, it's still fun.
And addictive. Like,
Yep.
regardless of all of that, it's like, oh, hell yeah.
I don't even really remember the negative parts of it other than just for them to frame a story. You know what I mean? They make the story fun. All I really remember was, saying cuss words to myself as I'm driving and excited cuss words. And then realizing someone's going to listen to all that video footage and be like, what in the world is wrong with this girl?
No, you can't hear it. Don't worry. I've listened very carefully to see if you can hear it, and you cannot hear what you're saying, but you can very easily watch your drive.
Yeah, you just sit there and hope that your YouTube channel doesn't have a. Why do all your drivers have Tourette's syndrome?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you from my experience, what's funny about your first race is that there was all that bad to it, but we were all blinded to the bad stuff that happened by how excited we were to get you into your first race and into your first car, and then it was with us. So that's what it comes down to for us. We didn't care about the bad stuff as long as you survived it. We were just happy to have you.
Yeah, I was just happy to survive. I wanted to make sure I had fun because I was worried, like, what if I take this, like you guys talk about, all the preparation and all the, what if that takes the fun out of it, the pressure, and it only intensified it. Where now when I have gone back to do just a regular track event, I'm like, this is great, but this isn't great,
Yeah. You've definitely been bitten by the racing competition vampire.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, 2 examples, not necessarily of what to do. One by Winsome Racing and one by Winsome Racing. And hopefully, you guys, if you haven't tried it, will come out and give it a run because it is quite fun.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I think the biggest example I see coming out of this is you drive what you got. Bring whatever you got to the track. If whatever you're racing, if it's not driving exactly the way you tested it or exactly what you hoped it would be, you're driving what you got. Just get on out there and run what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Do the best you can.
Yeah.
And sometimes those cars that are, I think Ben refers to them as ill-tempered.
Yep.
Sometimes those ill-tempered cars are some of the most rewarding and memorable drives you'll ever have.
They have a lot to teach us.
They do. Sometimes they teach us a little too much, but that's okay.
You can
All
get
right.
some sore ribs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anything else, guys?
No.
All good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Danielle, thank you for coming on.
Yes.
Yes.
Very nice to have a
It was a blast.
female one.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome for getting out there and just doing it. I
Yeah,
remember
definitely.
I was a chicken. I have to do everything for forever first. So kudos to you guys.
Yes.
We're not chicken. We're not smart, but we're not chicken.
That's right.
Another example of if we can do it, anybody can.
There you go.
Thank you for coming
Yep.
on.
Thank
All
you.
right.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to cover, please feel free to let us know. We can be found on our website at garageheroesandtraining.com, on Gmail at garageheroesandtraining@gmail.com, or on Instagram, surprisingly enough, at Garage Heroes and Training. And if you'd really like to help us out, it would be great if you could leave a rating and a review on your podcast app of choice. We'd like to thank our guest, Danielle Tripp, for coming on, our guest host, Ben Dawson, always nice to have. And as you heard on this episode, anybody can get out there and race, and we'd love to see you guys out there with us. Have a great night. Thanks. Bye.
Jen, you there?
I am. Just give
Did
me
you
a
lose
second.
the camera?
She's on super secret.
I'm trying.
What's going on in there?
Come on, Jen.
No, I'm trying.
Jim, put your clothes on so she can turn the camera on.
No, Jim, stop. Just kidding.
You
Wait,
know,
no,
that-
where is,
that's-
I don't see where.
you know that's going on the end of the podcast.
Stop video. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm scared to say anything anymore on here that's not just the official recording.
Jim, where's my camera?
Right on the top of the screen. Just
Camera's not up my ass, Jim. Would you help me?
Did he give you the old, if it's up your ass, you know it?
could be why the picture's so dark. Oh, we're being
Jim
serenaded.
said, wait a minute. I got to reboot. I got to reboot, Jim said. So I got to let go. I'll be
Boot,
right
and
back.
reboot.
Boot her butt.
Jim, that's not where you put the floppy disk. So this is where the birthday cake serenade came from?
She gets, apparently, she was making me play death metal on the way home from school. So I played that death metal song again. Like, okay. It's crazy.
So Danielle, have you ever been dumb enough to listen to our podcast yet?
I've listened to a couple.
Did you?
Most recently, the one you guys
Wow.
did.
We owe you.
I actually had some good laughs, and then my husband listened to it, and he had some good laughs.
I think Vicky's favorite's like number 68 or 69. It's us prepping for New Hampshire, and I kind of had a bit of a debacle.
Yeah, you did.
Write that one down, 68 or 69.
Yeah, it'll say prep for New Hampshire or New Hampshire post race or something. I don't remember.
So-
I can-
Yeah, it was.
Was it a recording debacle or a car prep debacle?
it was pretty much 100% debacle, but car prep.
It was 100% debacle in just
Yeah.
prep work.
Good times.
Yeah.
See, I sent it to Ben when he was catching up, and he said that one was really funny. I said, if you want funny, the one that Vicky always refers to
Yep.
is an episode.
Yep. The tire fell off the car when he was
You're
driving
killing.
it.
You're killing it.
It was funny.
You're killing it. It's really tough having a podcast with two techno-Amish people.
I didn't even know that term.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
we could hear you.
We just
All right.
can't
Techno
see you.
Amish. Yeah. That's, we have tendencies to lean that way.
Yeah, I didn't know that term before now, but it definitely applies to me as well.
Okay, so we're 3 out of 3 now. Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Spectacular. Let's see. Are you ready to go, Jen? Or are you gonna?
I am. I guess you're just not gonna be able to see me.
What
That's
happened?
that's half the fun.
Oh, my little light's on for my camera. It's just not working.
Do you have
Wait a
your
minute.
finger
You have a
over it?
plug-in?
Huh?
You have a plug-in mic?
No. No.
Do you have your
It
finger
says-
over it?
No.
Okay, just checking.
I wonder if she did an update.
Probably did.
Jim's quite savvy.
Jim's a savant when it comes to
Oh, you know what the word before savant usually is, right?
Yep.
Um, 68 or 69. I think it's 68. Let's see. One race. We'll start. We may ask for some assistance. 69.
All right. Can remember that.
And
Our Bill and Ted episode.
Okay. I love it.
69, dude.
We've watched the first two. Now Bill wants to watch the latest.
I do. I've heard it's good.
Wait, what are we watching?
Bill and Ted.
One Ted.
Oh, I've never even seen any of them. I should
they're
probably
awesome.
start the first one.
It's
first
fine.
The first one's
Fine.
great. The second one's
It's fine.
good. The third one's supposed to be good.
Well, they've had a long time to think about that third one, right?
Yeah,
Like,
a little
it
bit.
better be good. Like, if you screw that up, like, what were you doing?
This was what you came back for, right? 30 years. This is what you came back for. All right. See, Danielle, this is how we roll. We know Jen's going to keep flipping the video on and off and on and on and on and off and keep bumping out. So we didn't bother starting.
She's never
saying,
had a problem with her mic.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
with her camera.
No, Jen's here. Let's see if there's a picture.
Woohoo!
Maybe. There's no red outline. No. Maybe.
Oh,
Yes.
Hey!
Alrighty.
Jim did it. He fixed it.
Thanks.
You go, Jim.
Way to go, Jim.
You go, Jim.
Okay, well, we had to start with that.
Well, you took forever. You earned it.
Oh, this.
It's a tradition.
Oh, there's the shot right there.
So I need to relive that over and over and over.
Yeah, I think Danielle missed it. She needs a little rewind.
Oh, no worries. It'll be on for an hour or so.
Yeah. Oh, it's on a loop? Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Turn. Turn. Turn.
No, not gonna
Not
do
that
it.
way.
Ow.
Oh, that looks like it hurt.
Broke some ribs.
Little good-natured ribbon.
How are you, Ribs, Jen?
Yeah,
I will let you know. Last night was the first night I slept in my bed.
Since the Charlotte race.
in a
Oh, geez.
month.
Now Jim's sitting there going, damn it.
he had it to himself.
I had all the room. Rolling.
All right.
All right, very well. So Jen, last one in, gets to do the intro. So you ready?
No,
Damn it.
nope.
All right, fine. I'll do it. All right, here we go.